Lord asked the question, who do men say that I am? And they say conformity is living up to the expectations of other people. Okay, but Christianity is living up to the expectations of God. Okay, the standard for conformity is the latest Gallup poll. Okay, but the standard for Christianity is truth. The source for the world standards are ABC, CBS, and NBC. But the three infallible sources for God's truth are sacred scripture, sacred tradition, and the magisterium. Okay? I remember this priest who, and they say that parents reflect God's love. Like, love is the inner logic of truth. So parents reflect truth in their love for their children. So not only those three infallible sources, but parents also reflect God's truth. I remember this priest who taught in a high school. There was one girl who came in every day bragging that her parents set no boundaries for her. All the others had to be home by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, but she could stay out as late as she wanted. She would brag that she didn't have a curfew. She could get home anytime she wanted. But then one Monday morning she came in crying, and the priest asked why she was crying, and she said, the only reason my parents let me stay out so long is that they don't care. She was not important to them. We might say, no rules, no love. It's love that sets boundaries on us. Like Mark Twain has that quip. He says that when I was 16, I couldn't believe how dumb my father was, but when I was 21, I couldn't believe how much he had learned in 5 years. Well, like, there's a time when we want to get out from beneath the yoke of authority. Okay? But as we grow up, we appreciate authority, direction, the light of truth. I remember the woman who used to run the soup kitchen in Norwich once said that no one ever came and told her in the soup kitchen that their parents were too strict, only not strict enough. So we spend our lives hearing the results of the latest Gallup polls, but we also need to look beyond those around us, beyond this world. We need to look to the saints. And it's like the eagle that grew up with chickens. He lived with chickens, ate with chickens, spent his whole day with chickens. Then one day he saw an eagle fly, and he remembered he was an eagle. Okay? So when we look around the world, we sometimes forget God's standard. We're tempted to conformity over Christianity. Okay? But love puts the will of another before my own will, and it's love of God that puts his will before my will. Obedience is love, because it puts the will of another authority before my will. And that's why that rest of the gospel says, unless you pick up your cross daily and follow me, you cannot be my disciple. Okay? Unless you self-sacrifice your will for my will, you cannot be my disciple. Like there's that word family, some say it's an acronym. Forget about me, I love you. And that's kind of what family life is summed up in. And there's those paradoxical commands of leadership that remind us that we're not in it for the praise of others. What we do is not motivated by the applause of the crowd, but because it's the right thing to do. In those commands, it says that people are unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Love them anyway. If you do good, people may accuse you of selfish motives. Do good anyway. If you are successful, you may win false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. The good you do may be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Honesty and openness make you vulnerable. Be honest and open anyway. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Build anyway. Give the world the best you have, and you may get hurt. Give the world the best you have anyway.